Hello and welcome to the Consultant's Guide to Lead Generation webinar, 3 Steps to Securing New Leads. Thank you for attending today. My name is Stephen Aronset. I'm the Director of Consultant Services here at MBO Partners, and I'll be the moderator for today's webinar. And this webinar is presented by MBO Partners, and we've been doing one thing really well for the last 26 years, and that's just making it easier for independent consultants and their clients to work together. If you're already an independent consultant, or maybe you're thinking of starting to work independently, you can learn more by going to mbopartners.com. But simply put, you can find your own work, you set your own rates, you choose the projects that you want to work on, you kind of maintain complete control of your business. We just handle all the other stuff that keeps you from being more billable. Just a few housekeeping items. The webinar controls. You'll notice a small box to the right of your screen. Feel free to ask questions at any time during the webinar into that question area there at the bottom. And I'll be accumulating these for a Q&A session with Bret at the end of the presentation. This webinar will also be recorded, and a link also with a copy of the slides will be sent to all attendees so that you can share this with your colleagues and friends who were unable to make it today. I would like to also introduce Bret Smith, founder and managing principal at High Impact Prospecting, who has over 25 years experience in global sales, marketing, alliances, and biz development. He's a prolific blogger and who's contributed dozens of articles to BrightHub, Webinar Wire, and has also authored content for even Harvard Business Review and Laptop Magazine, just to name a few. He's also served as social media strategist for a senatorial candidate and is also an active member of e-marketing, Sales Lead Management, and Adobe Industry Leaders and Innovators Associations. We're proud to have Bret as one of our MBO associates who's also agreed to share his expertise in lead nurturing with you today. Bret, if you want to take it from here.
Absolutely, and good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, wherever life may find you. As you look at the opportunities out there to serve various clients in your field, you have to always start to wonder, now that I've finished up this big project, or I'm close to finishing it, where do I go next? And just about every consultant struggles with the matter of how to procure those new clients. All of us have used a lot of different tools, obviously, referrals, word of mouth, and so on. But when you're reaching outside of your existing network, particularly when you're going beyond your local geography, if you will, there are some key things that we need to consider that have to do with not only researching your audience, but how to acquire information and how to communicate with them. So as we move forward, I'd like to say I think we all agree that business information is readily available and from many different sources, probably more than ever before. That said, though, the question of which resources to use for your particular endeavor remains, and as importantly, the 3 basic questions to ask as you seek to identify, communicate, and connect with potential prospects for your consultancies is as true. Those questions are, how do I reach my ideal audience? How do I research them? How do I determine exactly what this audience consists of? And then secondly, how am I going to contact them, and by what means? What sort of information is available to me for the prospects in my target audience? And more importantly than ever, how to communicate effectively with them so you can secure the desired outcome. So let's take a look at the first part of this, the research aspect. And let me say that it goes without saying that how you research your target audience certainly depends upon who and what type of audience that may be. At the highest level, and apart from the type of business you may be in, the process has to begin with, are they local, not local, or a mix of the two? Certainly at the local level, there are means of researching your target audience, from local publications to incorporation filings to trade organizations, among others. It's when you reach beyond your local geography, as I mentioned before, that leveraging web-based resources and business-to-business social media become much more important, particularly when you're working within a budget. This is where we're going to focus today, and we're going to drill into the specifics of how to use email, voice communications, and social media for new client development. So essentially, there are two ways that we can look to communicate in a cost-effective manner with folks outside of our local geography. And as I've mentioned several times at this point already, email, voice, social media are among them. Whatever resource you use to assimilate an informed view into your target audience, at the end of the day, the next question must be asked, how do I obtain their contact information so that I can economically communicate my offering to them? Now, most consultants simply don't have the luxury of advertising and any useful ad size within print media, or to use direct mail as a way to connect with prospects. Likewise, radio, TV. But you know, the good news is this: none of these older disruptive means of reaching your target audience, basically advertising, are as effective as email combined with voice, nor as economical or as meaningful as B2B social media. And we're going to see why that is in just a few more slides. But first, let's dig a little bit deeper into how we secure our prospects' contact information. This moves us into the acquire phase of our presentation today. Now notice some of the similarities on this list compared to the previous one. As I said before, why not economically research your target group in the same place that you hope to collect their contact data? Again, search is free across most of these resources. That's part of the good news. However, it's the contact data you usually have to pay for. However, for as little as $0 to $500, you can download complete contact through most of these resources for as many as 500 contacts. In fact, with both Data.com and Zoom, they offer a one-to-one trade model where you literally can add part of your own Rolodex in exchange for some net new contacts for yourself. Or you can purchase one-offs for as little as $5 a piece. And for many of us, if we're only seeking 100 targets, that could be an affordable way to go. Hoovers and LinkedIn, as you'll see on here, also offer varying types of affordable subscriptions, if you will. Yes, they have their free versions. The subscriptions start, though, at as little as $50 a month. And on LinkedIn, you can conduct unlimited searches, and you can save multiple lists of potential prospects in what they call your profile organizer. Also, while building your network and communicating is the best way to leverage LinkedIn, it also enables you to use what they call InMail, which is basically a way for you to communicate with folks you aren't connected to in an appropriate manner, essentially determined by what their preferences are in terms of what they're willing to receive via email. On the right-hand side, other business social media we might want to pay a little attention to is Manta and Merchant Circle. They're somewhat similar in that they enable you to set up information about yourself and your firm, which they in turn register on major search engines. That helps to drive traffic to them, and that drives traffic to you. At the end of the day, I think those that are much more proactive, like LinkedIn, much more enabling for internal networking communications, are certainly the more powerful way for you to go. However, not everyone's on LinkedIn. And so being able to source other contact information from sources like Data.com, Lead411, Zoom information is going to be an exceptional way for you to really target people that don't happen to be part of a business-to-business social network. I promised to remark about why I think email and voice and social media are best, particularly compared to some of the other avenues that many of us have probably tried. Again, I believe we could agree that most consultants don't have the luxury of advertising by print, direct mail, radio, TV. And I think this is the good news. And why is that? Well, first, those older disruptive means of reaching an audience, basically advertising, are really much more appropriate for consumer offers. You certainly don't want to be lumped together with the same commercials that are promoting a special deal at a local car dealership, for instance. as a consultant, credibility is really it's the coin of the realm. And secondly, when you're promoting professional services, again, it's about a credible expert image. Extending your expertise via social media, whether it's on your profile on LinkedIn or whether you're blogging on areas of your expertise or so on, these are going to be much more meaningful ways, if you will, your version of content marketing to project yourself in such a fashion that is cost efficient in the short term and over time is basically a body of your own thought leadership. And lastly, and this is particularly as it relates to email, communication via email is targeted. As I mentioned before, yes, you can look for people on LinkedIn, but they have to be in that network for you to communicate with them. Email frees you from that. And particularly in the United States, where email is about complying with simple canned spam requirements, this approach that's push rather than pull, and when combined with voice, along with the right methodology for communicating meaningfully, which is what we're about to get to, there's just really, in my mind, no substitute for consultants who want to reach beyond their local geography.